Bhagavat Geeta, Chapter 6, The Yoga of Self-Control, Atma Sanyama Yoga. Said Lord Supreme, He is the real renouncer of the world, who does his work without desiring for the fruit of his actions. Certainly not the one who renounces action or the worship the sacred fire. O son of Pandu, what they call a sannyasa. Know it to be the same as yoga union with Supreme. Without giving up intention, none can become a true yogi. For the sage who has just begun the yoga, work is said to be the means. After attaining yoga, even mindness in doing action is to be the means. When man doesn't act, either the sense of gratification or for the fruit of his actions, and when he has renounced all the desire-driven thought, he is said be seated in yoga. Let a man lift himself by himself, let him not degrade himself. Certainly self is a friend to the self, and self is also the enemy of the self. He who has controlled his self by his self, certainly his self is his best friend, but poor who has not conquered his self is his enemy. The self-conquered peaceful person is but the supreme self. For him cold or heat, happiness or sorrow, respect or disrespect are the same. He who is fully satisfied with knowledge and wisdom, who is mentally stable and is the master of his senses, and who regards gold or rubbish or a piece of stone as the same, such a self-realized soul is fit to be called a yogi. He is superior who maintains the same attitude towards his well-wisher, friend, enemies, non-aligned, arbitrator, haters, relations, saint and sinners. Let the yogi constantly keep his mind concentrated in his self, sitting alone in secluded place, self-control without desire and without any sense of possessiveness. In the clean place, placing his firm seat, neither too low nor too high, covered with soft cloth, deer skin and kusa grass. Thereupon sitting on that seat with single-minded concentration, keeping his mind, senses and activities under firm control, he should practice yoga for self-purification. Holding his body, neck and head firmly in single line and still concentrating his gaze on the tip of his nose and not distracting himself, with tranquil mind but without fear, following brahmacharya vows of celibacy, mind completely subdued and fixed in me, the yogi should sit and make me his ultimate goal. Practicing thus, ever established in the self with disciplined mind, the yogi attains the highest peace and the nirvana in my world. Yoga is neither for the one who is voracious eater nor for one who doesn't eat at all. It is neither for one who is the compulsive sleeper or for the one who doesn't sleep at all. He who has learned to control his eating and enjoyment, who performs his actions in the balanced manner, who maintains balance between his working and sleeping periods, his yoga frees him for all his sorrows. When the disciplined mind is established in the self, and when one becomes impervious to all the desire, he is said to be established in yoga. A lamp in the wilderness, a lamp in the windless place is a metaphor that can be used to describe a yogi whose mind is under control and who is united with his inner self. The state in which the mind ceases its movement restrained by the performance of the yoga, in which the lower self realized the higher self and the satisfied in the self. That state in which the find ultimate happiness, in which the intellect understands the transcendental, that which is beyond the senses, and wherein established he never moves from truth. And that state having gained which he thinks that he got everything and that there is nothing else to gain. In that state he is not shaken by even the most troublesome sorrow. Let that dissociation from association with pain he describes as a yoga which must be practiced with decisiveness and unwavering mind, abandoning all desire, born out of desire-oriented mental formulations, restraining the mind and senses equally from all sides. Gradually, step by step, with determination, he should hold back his desires. With his intelligence and with mind established in the self, he should think of nothing else. Whenever and wherever the mind becomes unsteady and unstable, there and then it must be brought back into the control of self. Definitely he is the real yogi, for he has attained tranquil mind and the supremely happy, with all his passions subdued. He is one with Brahman and completely free from all impurities. Engaged thus in practice of yoga, always immersed in the self, the sinless yogi attains ultimate happiness and union with Brahman. The yogi who is established in his self and who is even minded all the time at all, the place develops the equal vision whereby he sees the self in all beings and all being in the self. He who sees me everywhere and all me, I am not lost to him nor he is lost to me. Whoever worships me thus as the being abiding in all, established in the vision of oneness, live in me all the time irrespective of how he behaves and conduct himself. He who is comparison to himself sees all as equal, whether in happiness or in sorrow. That yogi or Arjuna should be regarded as the supremely perfect in my opinion. Said Arjuna, O Madhusudana, I am unable to understand this system of yoga which you have explained in outline due to the restlessness of the mind and its unsteady state. The mind is very fickle indeed of Krishna, turbulent, strong and obstinate. I think it is an impossible to control the mind just as is impossible to control the wind. Said Lord Supreme, undoubtedly, O mighty armed, it is a very difficult to control the ever-moving mind. However, O son of Kunti, through sincere practice and dispassionate detachment, vairagya, it can be achieved. With an uncontrolled mind, it is impossible to achieve this yoga of self-discipline, but it can be achieved, in my opinion, through persistent effort and subjugations of the mind. Said Arjuna, O Krishna, what is the fate of the unrealized soul who has not been able to control his mind and achieve success in yoga? O mighty armed, does he perish like a broken cloud, deprived of both material and spiritual success, he who is humble and deluded on the path of Brahmana? O Krishna, please dispel this doubt of mine completely. Except you, no one else can be this for me, said the Supreme Lord. O Partha, neither in this world nor in the other there is any destruction for him who is engaged in the performance of good deeds, nor would he fall into bad ways and come to grief. The yogi who has stumbled on the path of yoga dwell for many years after his death in the heavenly world of the pure souls, and then take birth in the household of the pure and the prosperous. Or he might also take birth in the family of the yogis of great wisdom. But this kind of birth is the very rare to achieve in this world. Arjuna, there he is regain the intelligence of his previous life and strive again for achieving all round perfections. By virtue of the previous life sadhana, he is drawn automatically toward the yoga. Such an inquisitive seeker of knowledge even goes beyond the verbal form of mantra worship. The yogi who strive with determination purified all sin, having perfected himself during innumerable lifetimes, attain the highest goal. The yogi is considered to be superior to the ascetic. He is also superior to men of knowledge and to men of desire driven action. Therefore Arjuna became a yogi, and all type of yogi he is considered to be the best, whose thought are always revolving around me and who worship me with utmost dedication and sincerity. Thus, end of sixth chapter, named Yoga of Self-Control in the Upanishad of Divine Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of Absolute, the Yogi scripture, and the debate between Arjuna and Lord Krishna. Thank you.